Today we are down in the Borders region. We are at Dryburgh Abbey and we'll have a look at the history of the place, some of the notable people who are interred here, and we will have to ask the question, why are there so many abbeys in this area of the Scottish borders? Welcome to Exploring Scotland's History. The abbey was established by Premonstratensian canons. I'll write it up there, probably not well pronounced, but it was founded in and around 1150. Hugh de Morville had invited the monks up from Alnwick Priory in Northumberland. He was an incomer himself at that stage from England. It is a beautiful place. Let's get in here. This could be a cross pate or it could just be a maker's mark. And what a maker. We saw these stone coffins up at Kinloss Abbey. This abbey is reported as being not as wealthy as many of the others in the area. I suppose it gave a true monastic life. It still seems to pack a punch. It is a massive, massive building. A lot of the places I visit, there's usually a yew somewhere in the churchyard, very traditional. We have a massive one here at Dryburgh. Here we have the gatehouse and the bridge to protect the abbey, and boy did it need it. In 1322 the abbey was savagely attacked by Edward II's soldiers. They were retreating back over the border with their tail between their legs, no doubt, when they heard the bells of the abbey ringing. So they came back and trashed it. And here we have James Ye First of Scots. Down into the 16th century cellars, very gingerly. They have some fine examples of the fallen masonry. You can actually feel it a bit cooler because as usual I've brought the weather with me and the sun splitting the slates. Now we're heading further in. Wow. Ah, that's quite like the arches on St. Ordan's Church on Iona. These are stunning. It's great that they've been preserved. When we see the amount of stuff that's fallen off, I suppose, this grand structure, and this structure was not the richest structure in the area. There is no denying that monasteries and churches certainly dealt in a certain amount of power in those days. The Protestant Reformation of 1560 pretty much finished monastic life here. Within 25 years there were 2 brothers standing. Now we come to David Erskine, the 11th Earl of Buchan, and he was actually the founder of the Society of Antiquaries in Scotland. And he actually bought a house just over here and did a lot of excavation in the abbey and pretty much made it into like a folly in his garden. Nice folly if you can get it. He was also the Grand Master of the Freemasons for 2 years. Erskine was friends with Benjamin Franklin and he did support the American cause. He actually sent George Washington a box which was made from oak that the Wallace had hidden in when he had failed at the Battle of Falkirk. He stayed with the Society of Antiquaries for in and around 10 years, and then unfortunately they were at loggerheads over various policies, so he put in his resignation. What I haven't seen personally is a headstone with a death mask, and that definitely looks like the death mask of the 11th Earl of Buchan. Historic Scotland are at it again. Apparently this place is dangerous, so it's been locked off. I stuck my hand through the gate so that we can see the lizards and lambs display and look for falling rock. I don't see any. This entrance definitely has a Gothic feel to it. The pink sandstone just makes everything feel warm. But we're going to head down into the chapter house. This has really stood the test of time. You can almost imagine monks sitting around those stone benches. When the Earl of Buchan was excavating in the 1700s, he found remains of very important abbey officials. So we have coffins, grave markers on the floor. There's another one, yes, here it is over here. That one has a wee bit more detail on it. It's also easier to see. Don't be fooled, a monk's life wasn't necessarily an easy one. If you were caught hoarding items or maybe taking a wee bit of extra food, the round men, who were the senior officials, would give you just punishment. You could be starved, you could be blocked out of communal activities. You did get punished. And of course there was the old-fashioned punishment if you went too far, a good old beating. It is lovely here. That's good. I don't know whether you can really see. It's protected by glass, which obviously is reflecting in the door. But you can see old designs, cross pates and various leafwork that were originally on the walls. That almost looks like a copy of the rose window that we saw. When I say the monks didn't have it easy, this was called the warming house. It had the only permissible fireplace to be sociable around in the whole building. And as you can see, it's quite a building. This is supposed to be the novices' day room, late 12th century. I imagine there was a lot of work, worship and rule setting here. I keep dropping back to that rose window. It just reminds me of St Conan's Kirk. There would have been lean-to shelter up the top end there. But we're going to head this way now. Trust me to find the book cupboard, fitted with doors and mighty sturdy shelves, judging by the grooves that have been made for them. Up here is where night prayers would have been had, quite close to their dormitory. They all lived quite close to where they would be required to pray. I got the weather. And this is the dormitory, sleeping chamber. We'll get in. I don't think there's going to be much to see, mind you. As I suspected, the sleeping chamber is quite plain. We kind of expect it to be plain because monks were supposed to give up all their chattels when they joined the monastery. And I'm harping back to the fact that this wasn't one of the rich abbeys. From up here, you can see how vast this site is. How many monks must have been resident here at various stages. Quite impressive. Walter Scott needs no introduction. Historian, poet, novelist, playwright. No matter what you may think of his writings, he did a lot to influence literature in Europe and even across the pond in America in his day. Field Marshal Haig is buried here beside Walter Scott. He holds maybe a contentious role in history in some eyes. While he is noted for his enterprise on the field of battle, there are those, especially in today's climate, who believe he was a wee bit callous at times. Perhaps you have to be callous to win the First World War, but when you have chaps with shell shock, what would be PTSD, They therefore can't fight, and Haig puts them in the firing squad. Yeah, not good. He is buried under what is a basic Commonwealth grave that even the ordinary soldiers lay under when they fell. There are some really unusual graves just outside the actual abbey. A lot of them are estate workers who have been interred there. What is lovely here is the amount of mature trees. So we do have to wonder on our question, why are there so many abbeys down here? There's Melrose Abbey, Jedburgh, Dryburgh here, to name but a few. It was all about power. What a surprise. The abbeys exuded power, and we are very close to the border with England. And with building abbeys here, the Scots could show how wealthy they were, how powerful they were. I know it sometimes backfired when soldiers heard bells and came down and a wrecking, but that's why there's so many abbeys down here. So that was Dryburgh Abbey, apparently the least wealthy of all the abbeys in the area. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe and leave a comment. It really helps the channel grow. Until next time, thank you for watching Exploring Scotland's History.